Bhikhu Parekh, an eminent scholar, economist, who holds a PhD from London School of Economics, and speaker, a Padma Vibhushan awardee, and a former Vice Chancellor of MS University, where we are holding this event, will now address the gathering.
Well, I hope you can hear me at the back, can you? Well, if you can, if you can't, you wouldn't be able to answer the question. My good friend, Dr. Karan Singh, Swami Nikhileshwaranandji, Imam Mujahid, Swami Gautamanandji Maharaj, Rajmata Shubhangini Devi ji, my good friend, in fact an ex-student, Dr. Jay Shah, ladies and gentlemen. To follow Dr. Karan Singh, as I have done from time to time, is never an easy task. Partly because his speech is full of profound insights, and although he and I are both students of political science, I cannot pretend to match his wisdom and his insights. And his enormous learning in Sanskrit, and although I fancied myself once upon a time as a good Sanskritist so that I could even lecture in Sanskrit, I don't think I could match your competence in that language. Because if I were to ask, what is a religion? And generally religion is defined in terms of Abrahamic faiths, Judaism, Christianity and Islam. And a religion is supposed to have a creator God, a text and a prophet. Now what about non-Abrahamic religions which do not understand, which do not understand the spirituality in terms of this narrow conception, triadic conception of a big God who created a big universe, sent his message through a prophet, and there is a text. The entire Indic tradition, dharmic tradition, has nothing to do with this way of understanding. For Jains, the universe is eternal, it's not created. For the Buddhist, when the great man was asked this question, he said, why do you worry your head about it? The important thing is right living. How do we cope with human suffering? Why do you want to ask these large metaphysical questions to which the answers are bound to be uncertain? And on that uncertainty, you want to base your life? Now, when we have therefore the dharmic tradition, what happens? When Westerners came to us, the European scholars, they couldn't make sense of the Hindus. So they asked a question, and I have talked about it in some of my writings. A great debate took place in Benares between the Hindu Pandits and the Christian missionaries. And the debate went on for quite a while, several days, in the presence of thousands of people. And the first question that the Christian missionaries asked to the Hindu Pandits was, do you believe in one God or many? And the Hindu Pandits' response was a big laughter and saying, your question is blasphemous and it's absurd. Why it is blasphemous? Because you imply that God must be either one or many. Why can't he be both? You are reducing him to the limited proportions of the human mind. It's absurd. And it's absurd because you imply that God must be a person. Supposing my religion is perfect, is the last word in wisdom, God has exhaustively revealed himself, why should I talk to him? I remember as a young boy in St. Xavier's College, when I was a student, I was staying at Ramakrishna Mission, and Swami Sambuddhananji said, let's have inter-religious conference. So he asked me to carry an invitation to Father Balagar, or Father who was principal of St. Xavier's College, and he said, Father, we are having inter-religious convention. Would you send somebody to talk about Christianity? I have got somebody to talk about Islam and so on. And Father sent a little note. This was in 1951. So you are not the only one who has crossed 80. Some of us are also getting there. And Father wrote back saying there is only one religion, and the term interreligious dialogue is a contradiction in terms. Those days have gone. Although from time to time we hear those voices from the Vatican, the old Catholic tradition. Now things have changed, where we are the non-Christians are supposed to be honorary Christians or Christians in conscience, who have been given a message but foolishly have not really accepted it. So for dialogue presupposes that I recognize others as my equal. Others have something to contribute. I'm not sitting on a treasure which I alone have. I have the final truth and nobody has. That kind of openness is very important. And that openness, sadly, is not readily available. I'm just talking about religions which claim to be the final revelation. They have a big problem. I'm also talking about our own tradition. In our tradition, we have had people Shaivites saying this is the final word. Vaishnavites saying the same thing. Every religion, therefore, has to be opened up. And our problem, the problem of anybody who is interested in a global conversation between religions, is how to make sure that the openness of religion is encouraged and the tendency to put firewalls behind it is discouraged. Unless that happens, no dialogue is possible. Without dialogue, there is no world parliament of religions or anything of the kind. And what you will have is a world parliament not very different from what is going on in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha in our own country. Thank you.